Good afternoon from the space coast of Florida, where 4 astronauts are about to suit up for NASA's boldest test flight in a generation.
Our goal is to pursue the secrets of the universe, to change the world in air and space.
We have a ton of people gathering around the world to watch this history-making moment.
Artemis II crew is go for launch. Full send.
Let's go.
3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff. The crew of Artemis II now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
On April 1st, 2026, 4 astronauts launched from Kennedy Space Center aboard the most powerful rocket ever built, Artemis II, the first crewed mission beyond Earth's orbit in more than 50 years. 18 million people watched the launch. Netflix, Amazon, and Apple streamed the mission live. The crew flew around the far side of the moon, broke the record for the farthest distance any human has ever traveled from Earth, and splashed down in the Pacific 10 days later. It was the most watched space event since Apollo, and almost nobody asked the only question that actually matters. Who owns the moon? The answer right now is nobody. The answer in 10 years might be very different, and the system being built to determine that answer is already in motion, negotiated in rooms most people have never heard of, governed by agreements most people have never read. This is not a story about space exploration. This is a story about territory, resources, and the absence of law, and it has already started. The legal framework governing the moon was written in 1967. The Outer Space Treaty, drafted during the Cold War, signed by the United States, the Soviet Union, and over 100 other nations. Its core principle was simple and absolute. No nation may claim sovereignty over the moon or any celestial body. Space belongs to everyone. It is the common province of all mankind. For decades, that principle held because it didn't matter. Nobody was going to the moon. Nobody had a reason to mine it. Nobody had the technology to build a permanent base on it. The treaty was a handshake between 2 superpowers about a place neither of them planned to use. That is no longer the case. Here is what is on the moon that nobody talks about. Water ice, concentrated in permanently shadowed craters at the lunar South Pole, where temperatures drop below -230 degrees Celsius. Water on the moon is not just water. It is oxygen to breathe. It is hydrogen for rocket fuel. A lunar base with access to water ice becomes a refueling station for every mission deeper into the solar system. Mars missions launched from lunar orbit require a fraction of the fuel that missions launched from Earth require. Whoever controls the water controls the logistics of deep space. Then there is helium-3, a non-radioactive isotope embedded in the lunar soil by billions of years of solar wind. The moon holds an estimated 1 million metric tons of it. Earth has less than 25 tons. Helium-3 is theoretically the cleanest possible fuel for nuclear fusion. 25 tons could power the entire United States for a year. In mid-2025, the U.S. Department of Energy made a historic purchase. 3 liters of lunar helium-3, the first government procurement of an extraterrestrial resource in history. The supply chain is being seeded, the market is being created, before the technology to use it fully exists. And then there are the rare earth elements, titanium, aluminum, iron oxides, locked in the lunar regolith across the entire surface. The moon is not empty. It is the most valuable, unclaimed territory in human history, and 2 competing coalitions are racing to establish a permanent presence on it. On one side, the United States leads the Artemis program, the mission that just returned from the moon. Its goal is to land astronauts on the lunar surface, build the Gateway space station in lunar orbit, and establish a sustained presence at the South Pole. The Artemis program is international. Canada, Japan, the European Space Agency, and dozens of other nations are partners. But participation comes with a condition. Every partner must sign the Artemis Accords. The Accords were drafted by NASA and the U.S. State Department in 2020. As of early 2026, 61 countries have signed them. They establish principles for transparency, interoperability, resource extraction, and something called safety zones. Safety zones are where it gets complicated. A safety zone is a buffer area around a lunar operation, a landing site, a habitat, a mining facility. The stated purpose is to prevent harmful interference between missions. If your base is extracting water ice from a crater, you do not want another country's rover driving through your operation. That sounds reasonable, until you think about what it means in practice. Whoever arrives first at a location on the lunar South Pole can declare a safety zone around it. That zone excludes others from operating in the area. The Accords say these zones should be temporary and proportionate. But there is no enforcement mechanism. There is no international body governing their size, duration, or boundaries. And the locations being targeted, the permanently shadowed craters with confirmed water ice deposits, are limited. There are not many of them. The first nation to land at Shackleton Crater and establish a base can declare a safety zone around the best water ice deposits on the Moon. That zone is technically temporary, but a base with power infrastructure, extraction equipment, and communication systems is not temporary. It is a permanent installation with a temporary label. Russia has called the Accords an attempt to create international space law that favors the United States. China has compared them to European colonial land-taking methods. Neither country has signed, and both are building their own alternative. On the other side, China and Russia are constructing the International Lunar Research Station, the ILRS. The plan was announced in March 2021 when the two countries signed a memorandum of understanding. The project is open to any country willing to join. As of 2026, 13 nations have signed on. Pakistan, Egypt, Venezuela, South Africa, Belarus, Azerbaijan, Serbia, Thailand, a coalition of countries with established ties to Beijing. The ILRS timeline is ambitious: robotic reconnaissance missions through 2030, construction missions beginning with Chang'e 8 in 2028, a completed base near the lunar South Pole by approximately 2035, crewed missions by 2036. China's lunar program has not suffered the delays that plagued Artemis. Chang'e 4 landed on the far side of the Moon in 2019. Chang'e 5 returned lunar samples in 2020. Chang'e 6 returned the first samples from the far side in 2024. Chang'e 7, targeting Shackleton Crater to search for water ice, is scheduled to launch this year. Both programs, Artemis and ILRS, are targeting the same general area: the lunar South Pole, the same craters, the same resources, the same strategically valuable terrain. And there are no agreed rules governing what happens when they arrive at the same location. The Outer Space Treaty says no nation can claim territory on the Moon, but the Artemis Accords say nations can extract and own resources from the lunar surface. The Accords frame this as consistent with the treaty. Critics argue it is a direct contradiction. You cannot own the land, but you can own everything you take from it. That distinction works on paper. On the surface of the Moon, with two competing coalitions mining from the same craters, it becomes meaningless. There is no court with jurisdiction over the Moon. There is no police force. There is no governing body with the authority to resolve disputes. The United Nations Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space has been discussing lunar governance for decades. It has produced no binding agreement since 1979, when the Moon Agreement was drafted. The Moon Agreement declared lunar resources the common heritage of mankind and called for an international regime to govern extraction. The United States never signed it. Neither did Russia or China. Only 17 countries ratified it. It is effectively dead. What exists instead is two competing frameworks: the Artemis Accords on one side, the ILRS principles on the other. Neither recognizes the other. Neither has legal force. And both are racing to establish facts on the ground before the rules are written. This pattern is not new. It is the oldest pattern in human history. When European powers colonized the Americas, the legal framework came after the occupation. When nations divided Africa at the Berlin Conference in 1884, the rules reflected the positions already established by force. When countries began drilling for oil in contested waters, the international law of the sea was rewritten to accommodate whoever had already built the platforms. The moon is next. The difference is speed. The European colonization of the Americas unfolded over centuries. The scramble for Africa took decades. The race for the moon's south pole will be decided in years. The first nation to establish a functioning base with resource extraction capability will set the precedent. Everything that follows will be negotiated from the position they have already claimed. And there is a dimension to this race that most people miss entirely. NASA does not build rockets anymore. It contracts them. The space launch system that carried Artemis II was built by Boeing at a development cost of over $23 billion. The Orion capsule was built by Lockheed Martin. The lunar lander for future Artemis missions is SpaceX's Starship. SpaceX is not just a contractor, it is the most dominant launch provider on Earth. It has launched more mass to orbit than every other country and company combined. Its Starship, when fully operational, will be the largest and most powerful rocket ever built. And it is the vehicle NASA chose to land astronauts on the moon. One private company controls the launch capability that the entire Artemis program depends on. One company's timeline determines when American astronauts reach the lunar surface. One company's pricing determines what it costs. This is the same pattern, the same thesis. Computing runs through one company's machines. The internet runs through one company's infrastructure. Global payments run through one network. And now, access to the moon, the next contested frontier, runs through one company's rockets. Nobody voted for this. Nobody planned it. It emerged the way it always does. Through efficiency, through capability, through the quiet concentration of power in the hands of whoever solved the problem first. The Artemis II astronauts returned safely. They were celebrated. The footage of Earth rising over the lunar horizon was replayed for weeks. The mission was called a triumph of human achievement, and it was. But underneath the triumph, a quieter process is underway. The legal vacuum above the moon is being filled, not by treaties, not by international consensus, by the actions of whoever gets there first. The moon has no government, no borders, no owner. For now. The 1967 treaty that declared it the common province of all mankind was written for a world where nobody could reach it. That world no longer exists. The technology is here. The resources are confirmed. The coalitions are formed. The timelines are set. The question is not whether the moon will be claimed. The question is whether the rules will be written before or after the claims are made. Because every unclaimed frontier in human history has eventually been claimed, and the rules have always been written by whoever arrived first. The moon is 384,000 kilometers away, and the race to own it is closer than most people realize.